On November 24, 1971, a man who would become known as D.B. Cooper hijacks a plane and then jumps out, taking with him a ransom of $200,000.
Well, he either got away or else he sure made a big hole in the ground up there.
His identity is never uncovered, nor is his body. It's impossible, or is it?
I've said many times before that I really want to get to the bottom of this, and I believe that I can.
Can investigator Eric Ulis finally close the only unsolved skyjacking in U.S. history?
D.B. Cooper was very clever in terms of how he pulled this thing off.
He and his team will re-examine the plane's alleged flight path,
The pilot said that they were not looking far enough west.
search alternate landing sites for fresh clues,
Yeah, this could be promising.
and profile possible suspect. Tonight, new answers in one of history's greatest mysteries. Who is D.B. Cooper and how did he escape? D.B. Cooper investigator Eric Ulis is on his way to Washington State, but his research and investigation started 12 years earlier in Arizona.
I've always had a fascination with aviation, which is what I believe ultimately drew me into the case. Here was a man who developed a cult-like following over the years, despite the fact that nobody really knew anything about the guy at all. He became a legend overnight.
I think DB is like the coolest guy in America. He did the ultimate crime.
Eventually, I found the case was being hijacked by conspiracy theories and so forth. And I just ended up getting sucked into this D.B. Cooper vortex. And ultimately, I decided that I was going to undertake an investigation of my own into the case.
Over the years, more than 1,000 suspects have been scrutinized.
When this case happened in the 1970s, the era of DNA was not upon us. And agents really didn't look out to preserve this evidence in the way that we do now.
In order to identify where the FBI and others went sideways with this case, I knew that I was going to have to personally read all 20,000 pages of redacted FBI files regarding the case.
Thanks to a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit filed in 2016, every few months the FBI releases files from the case in chronological order. This constant drip of new information and new sources is key to Eric's theory about what really happened on Northwest Flight 305.
The night of the skyjacking, we know a man boarded Northwest Orient flight in Portland, destined for Seattle. He bought the ticket with a $20 bill at the airport. There was no ID required, and he gave the name Dan Cooper to the ticket agent. He would end up taking a seat in the very back row of the jet, 18E to be exact. The flight attendants recall D.B. Cooper being a guy who was in his mid-40s, dressed as a business person wearing a black suit, wearing loafers with a skinny black tie and a raincoat. And he would later put on a pair of dark sunglasses as the jet was about to take off. By his side, he had a black attaché case. As the plane starts taxiing toward the runway, D.B. Cooper hands one of the flight attendants, Florence Schaffner, a note which says that he has a bomb.
36 passengers got off the jetliner in Seattle last night. Left aboard 4 crew members and the hijacker, dressed in a business suit, demanding $200,000, with the full ransom collected from Seattle banks and 4 parachutes aboard. The plane headed for Reno.
What many people don't know is that Reno was not the intended destination. Cooper actually requested that the plane fly to Mexico nonstop. But the problem is that he wanted the jet to fly with the landing gear down. He wanted the jet to fly with the flaps down. He wanted the jet to fly at a very slow speed and not fly over 10,000 feet in altitude. So there was simply no way that they could fly nonstop to Mexico City. They would need to refuel somewhere, and they decided Reno.
According to Eric, Cooper's request to be flown to Mexico was a ruse. 7 minutes after the plane left Seattle, the flight crew received an alert. The rear air stairs were activated.
The Boeing 727 was unique in that it had air stairs that would deploy from the back bottom of the fuselage. In fact, it's these air stairs that the passengers actually boarded the jet with.
Roughly 27 minutes after the air stairs deployment alert, the crew experienced a cabin pressure disturbance.
At approximately 8:12 p.m., the pilots experienced what they describe as a pressure bump on the plane. What felt like a popping in the ears. This pressure bump was created when D.B. Cooper jumped off the back air stairs and the air stairs snapped back up into the bottom of the fuselage. That bump holds the key to everything.
Estimating where and when that bump took place is key. It determined the area in which FBI, Air Force, and local law enforcement members looked for Cooper in a coordinated ground search that lasted for months.
The FBI never found anything in their original search area, and my research indicates that the reason they came up empty-handed is because they were actually searching in the wrong place. Why were they searching in the wrong place? Because the flight path was off. Understanding that pressure bump and identifying the correct search area will allow us to ask the basic fundamental questions.
The identity of D.B. Cooper has haunted investigators for nearly 5 decades. Who is the mysterious hijacker? And will we ever unlock his identity? Tune in next time for another installment of History's Greatest Mysteries.